sun cast long shadows across the polished marble floors of Zenith Tower, the crown jewel in the city's glittering skyline. At the top floor, in an office bigger than most apartments, Obinna Nwosu stood gazing out over the sprawling metropolis. At just 35, he was the youngest billionaire in Nigeria, his tech empire revolutionizing everything from healthcare to education across the African continent. As he adjusted his custom-made suit, a gift from his wife for their anniversary, Obinna caught his reflection in the floor-to-ceiling windows. Chiseled features, clear skin, and eyes that sparkled with intelligence stared back at him. It was a face that graced magazine covers and billboards, a face that inspired trust and admiration. Yet, as he studied his image, a familiar unease settled in his chest. For beneath the perfectly tailored suit and confident smile lay a story few knew. A tale of transformation, hidden truths, and unexpected twists of fate. Obinna's story began 35 years earlier, on a night when the electricity in Lagos had failed yet again, plunging the entire city into darkness. In a rundown clinic on the outskirts of the city, a young woman named Adaeze struggled through a difficult labor. The child she bore, a boy, entered the world amid a chorus of gasps and murmurs. His tiny body was twisted, limbs malformed, a result of malnutrition and lack of prenatal care. Adaeze, barely more than a child herself, could only weep as she looked at her son, the product of a violent assault months earlier. The baby was a reminder of the worst night of her life when she got raped. As the nurses whispered about the child's slim chances of survival, Adaeze made a decision, born out of desperation and shame. In the chaos of the understaffed clinic, she slipped away into the night, leaving her newborn son behind. It was then that fate intervened in the form of Dr. Chukwuma Nwosu, a visiting surgeon from America. In Lagos, for a medical conference, Dr. Nwosu had offered to help the clinic during the blackout. When he saw the abandoned child, his heart broke. But more than that, his expert eye recognized something the local staff had missed. The baby's condition, while serious, was operable. Dr. Nwosu and his wife, Elena, had been unable to have children of their own. In that moment, as that tiny baby gripped his finger with a surprising strength, Dr. Nwosu knew that this child was meant to be theirs. After a lot of paperwork, emotional pleas, and no small amount of money changing hands, the Nwosus were finally granted custody of the baby. They named him Obinna. Within days, they were on a plane to Boston, where Obinna underwent the first of many surgeries. The procedures were groundbreaking, combining cutting-edge technology with Dr. Nwosu's innovative techniques. Over the next few years, Obinna's body was slowly reshaped, each operation bringing him closer to the picture of health. By the time Obinna was ready to start school, the transformation was nothing short of miraculous. The twisted limbs and malformed features were gone, replaced by a sturdy body and a face that turned heads with its beauty. No one looking at the charming, energetic boy would ever guess the challenges of his early years. As Obinna grew, his parents marveled not at just his physical transformation, but at his quick mind and kind heart. He excelled in his studies, showing a particular aptitude for science and technology, but there was something else. a drive that seemed to come from deep within him. Obinna was determined to succeed, to make something of himself, as if trying to prove his worth to the birth parents he had never known. It was during his high school years that Obinna's life took another unexpected turn. A new girl joined his class, transferring from a public school across town. Adaora was quiet and unassuming, often overlooked by their classmates, but Obinna saw something in her, a quick intelligence behind her shy demeanor, and a kindness that matched his own. As they worked together on class projects, Obinna and Adaora formed a close friendship. He learned that she lived with her grandmother in a small apartment, helping to care for the older women while juggling her studies. Adaora rarely spoke of her parents, saying only that they had died when she was very young. Despite the differences in their circumstances, Obinna's life of privilege versus Adaora's modest background, the two found in each other a kindred spirit. Both felt like outsiders in their own ways, driven by a need to prove themselves. As they neared graduation from secondary school, Obinna and Adaora's friendship blossomed into something more. Their first kiss, shared under the starlit sky at their senior prom, felt like the beginning of something profound. But life, as it often does, had other plans. Obinna's parents, concerned about his growing attachment to a girl they saw as beneath their son's class, insisted he focused on his studies. They had big plans for Obinna: Harvard Medical School, following in his father's footsteps. A long-distance relationship with a girl from Lagos didn't fit into that picture. Heartbroken but determined to make his parents proud, Obinna left for Harvard. But before he left, he visited Adaora. He promised her that fate would reunite them in future if they were meant to be. It was such a heart-wrenching scene as the two lovers separated, unsure of what the future held for both of them. He threw himself into his studies, excelling in his classes and impressing his professors. But something was missing. The path laid out for him, becoming a surgeon like his father, no longer felt right. It was during a late-night study session, as he studied rigorously over medical texts, that Obinna had his revelation moment. He realized that while he loved medicine, his true passion lay in using technology to make healthcare more accessible. The memory of his own transformation and of Adaora's grandmother struggling to get the care she needed fueled his vision. Against his parents' wishes, Obinna switched his focus to biomedical engineering. He began developing prototypes for portable diagnostic tools that could be used in remote areas with limited resources. His work caught the attention of venture capitalists, and by the time he graduated, Obinna had secured funding to start his own company. Meanwhile, back in Lagos, Adaora's life had taken its own unexpected turn. Always a good student, she had won a scholarship to study nursing. It was during her clinical rotations that she discovered her true calling. Adaora had an almost supernatural ability to diagnose complex cases, picking up on subtle symptoms that even experienced doctors missed. As word of her skills spread, Adaora was offered a place in a prestigious medical program. Suddenly, the girl everyone had dismissed as quiet and unremarkable was being hailed as a medical prodigy. But success came with its own challenges. As Adaora's star rose, she found herself the target of jealousy and suspicion. How could a girl from her background possess such extraordinary abilities? For such reasons, she couldn't have friends and had no one she could truly trust. It was during this time of professional triumph and personal turmoil that Obinna and Adanna's paths crossed again. Obinna, now CEO of his rapidly growing medtech company, had returned to Lagos to set up a new research facility. When he heard about the brilliant young doctor making waves in the medical community, he was intrigued, and when he realized it was Adanna, he knew he had to see her at all costs. Their reunion was like something out of a movie. The years melted away as they talked, sharing their triumphs and challenges. The connection they had felt as teenagers was still there, sparks stronger than ever. This time, Obinna was determined not to let anything come between them. As Obinna and Adanna's relationship deepened, so did their professional collaboration. Adanna's medical insights proved invaluable in refining Obinna's diagnostic tools. Together, they were pushing the boundaries of what was possible in healthcare. But as their success grew, so did the whispers and rumors. How had Obinna, given up for dead as a newborn, become such a picture of health and success? And how had Adanna, raised in poverty by her grandmother, developed such extraordinary medical skills? The answer to these questions would shake both Obinna and Adanna to their cores, threatening everything they had built together. It began with a chance encounter at a medical conference. Dr. Umonsu, Obinna's adoptive father, came face to face with a woman he hadn't seen in over 30 years, Daisy, Obinna's birth mother. The years had been kind to her. She was now a respected midwife, dedicating her life to ensuring other women received the care she had lacked. The shock of recognition was mutual. In that moment, the carefully constructed narrative of Obinna's origins began to unravel. Daisy, racked with guilt over abandoning her son, had spent years trying to track him down. When she learned of his success, she had been too ashamed to come forward. As the truth came to light, Obinna was forced to confront the reality of his birth and early days. The story of transformation was true, but circumstances were far more complex than he had been led to believe. His adoptive parents, in their desire to protect him, had hidden much of the truth. But it was Adanna's story that proved even more shocking. As the media frenzy around the young medical prodigy grew, it caught the attention of a wealthy couple in Abuja. They had been searching for their daughter for 25 years, ever since she was kidnapped from the hospital shortly after birth. DNA tests confirmed what seemed impossible. Adanna was their long-lost child. She was not the poor orphan girl raised by her grandmother, but the heiress to one of the largest fortunes in Nigeria. Her grandmother was revealed to be part of the kidnapping ring that had taken her as an infant. The revelations sent shockwaves through Lagos society. Overnight, Obinna and Adanna found themselves at the center of a media storm. Their rags to riches stories, already remarkable, now seemed like the plot of a far-fetched soap opera. As they struggled to come to terms with their new realities, Obinna and Adanna clung to each other. They had fallen in love with who they were, not the stories of their origins. But the pressure was intense. Adanna's biological parents wanted to make up for lost time, showering her with gifts and opportunities, and she had responsibilities and obligations to fulfill as the only heiress to her family's massive wealth, which was a potential threat to her profession. But with time, she was able to prove to her parents that she could handle her obligations to them and her responsibilities as the only heiress to their family, without giving up on her dreams of being a medical doctor. Obinna's birth mother sought forgiveness and a place in his life. Obinna, overwhelmed with a wave of different emotions, was slowly adapting to his new present. Although it was hard, he finally had to forgive Adaeze to heal all the wounds in his heart. It was during this tumultuous time that Obinna and Adanna made a decision. They would use their newfound platform and resources to help others. They established a foundation dedicated to supporting children from disadvantaged backgrounds, providing medical care, education, and opportunities for those who might otherwise be overlooked. Their wedding, held on the shores of Lagos Lagoon, was a celebration of love and resilience, and the power of second chances. As they exchanged vows, Obinna and Adanna were surrounded by a family that defied traditional definitions. Birth parents and adoptive parents, long-lost relatives, and chosen family. As the sun set over the lagoon, casting a golden glow over the gathering, Obinna looked at his beautiful bride. In Adanna's eyes, he saw reflected the same mix of emotions he felt: gratitude for the journey that had brought them together, amazement at the twists of fate that had shaped their lives, and hope for the future they would build together. Their story, with all its improbable twists and turns, was a testament to the complexity of human experience. It was a reminder that behind every face, no matter how perfect or flawed, lies a tale of struggle, resilience, and endless capacity for transformation. As Obinna turned away from the window in his office, his reflection fading into the growing dusk, he smiled. The unease that had gripped him earlier melted away. His life, with all its secrets and surprises, had led him to this moment. He was not defined by the circumstances of his birth or by the challenges of his early years, but by the choices he had made and the love he had found. With renewed purpose, Obinna gathered his things and headed home. Adanna would be waiting, probably poring over the last medical journals or playing with their young daughter. Together they would continue to write their story, one day at a time, embracing the beauty and complexity of their shared journey. As he stepped out into the bustling Lagos evening, Obinna felt a sense of peace wash over him. In the city of contrasts, where tradition and modernity danced an eternal dance, anything was possible. His story, their story, was a proof of that, and it was far from over. If you really enjoyed watching this story below, do comment below. And if you have other story ideas or suggestions, also do well to comment below in the comment section. I hope you enjoyed this story, and this is the end of Obinna and Adanna's story. Thanks guys, we love you.